All right. I call the regular meeting of the Milliken Board of Trustees for October 26, 2022 to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will Town Clerk please call roll?
Trustee Beckman?
Here.
Trustee Dean?
Here.
Trustee Lane?
Here.
Trustee Wakeman?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Here.
Mayor Austin?
Here. Thank you. Does anybody have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Let's try that again. Does anybody have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Got two things to discuss on this discussion. Drones and dog leashes.
Not on here.
No, it's not on there. I need it added. I need a motion.
Motion to
Add.
discussion on drones and dog leashes.
Thank you. Take a motion to approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
I second.
Thank you. Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Do we have any citizen comments this evening? Anybody that would like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll just skip right over that and we'll move on to the meeting minutes. Is there any discussion or comments on the meeting minutes of October 12th? Any corrections?
Move to approve.
Second.
Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do any board members have any questions about the list of bills? Anything you'd like to know about? Okay, no commentary. I'll take a nomination for appointment of our trustee from the two interviews that we did this afternoon.
I would make a motion to appoint Linda Meisner to fill a vacancy of trustee.
I second it.
Thank you. Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
No.
Trustee Beckman?
No.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next,
Can I make a comment?
yes.
Both good candidates. I would, my reason for nominating Linda Meisner is experience. I think it's important to serve a term on the Planning Commission and get your feet wet, and then come back on the next election in April and get your name on the ballot. If we appointed you now and the term comes around and you didn't rerun, then we're leaving another vacancy in the Planning Commission. I think it's a pretty important time right now that we have somebody in your position taking the lead over there, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
I have a comment too.
Yes.
I'd just like to say thanks, Michael, for coming in and interviewing with us. It was a pleasure to get to know you better. And I think you're in a very important position for the town of Milliken. So I appreciate you being there.
Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
Okay. The reason I voted no was because I thought, well, this is not a four-year term. This would be a shorter term for you to kind of jump in and learn a little bit. And I just thought, well, that was my main reason. So, yeah.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other commentary?
I guess I'd add to that. I think you'd be more beneficial in a 4-year term than you would on a 1.2 month term. Seriously. I think you bring a lot to the table.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Please apply again. We need people that are invested.
Yes.
Well, it'd be the election, unless you're planning on resigning.
Well, that's what I mean.
Okay. Just checking. Just want to know if I got another surprise coming.
No.
Okay. All right, town clerk, you have the swearing in ceremony, please.
Raise your right hand. I, Linda Meisner, do solemnly affirm that I will support and enforce the Constitution and laws of the United States of America
the Constitution and laws of the United States of America
and the state of Colorado
and the state of Colorado
and the ordinances of the town of Milliken,
and the ordinances of the town of Milliken,
and shall faithfully perform
to
to the best of my ability
the best of my ability
the duties of office of trustee
the duties of the office of trustee
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. And
All right. While trustee Meisner takes her seat, we will move on to the town administrator's report. And I understand you have a lot for us this evening.
I just put this in place. So lots of updates. So the first update is the permit for flashing beacons was issued yesterday, October 25th from CDOT. So staff will work with CDOT to ensure that the installation meets all of their standards and specifications. So hopefully we get those in before the weather turns bad on us. Also on October 18th, the field work for the speed study and the school zone study were completed by CDOT. We were informed that there are a number of internal reviews of the study that will take place at CDOT's Denver headquarters. They are hoping that a draft of the study will be available by mid-November. So we're seeing a little traction from CDOT finally, which is nice. Staff met with members of Journey Homes regarding the former Flag property on Friday, October 21st. We discussed water and sewer infrastructure and the different processes if they're going to go forward with that development out there at some point in time. So just to keep you updated on that. Conversations with Allo have continued to occur. Our biggest obstacle had been running fiber up to the Mad Russian subdivision due to Trustee Ehrlich's remembering the abandoned 8-inch water line. Staff has been working on locating it. The problem that we had with locating it was a PVC line, so there was no metal in order to detect. Staff did locate part of the line by potholing the area. Today we had the company DES come out and they do our jetting services for us. They came out and they jetted the line with a wire through it. The good news is there is 300 feet of intact water line that runs under the river and the railroad tracks. So I've informed Allo of this. I've not heard back from them yet because that just occurred this afternoon. So also staff is working on completing the application for the Safe Routes to School grant. This application is due on November 4th. With assistance from the school district, staff received 265 surveys back, which was more than the required 180 needed for the application. So we're doing well that way. The generator that we ordered last year has been delivered and installed at the Public Works building. So if bad weather occurs, we're ready for it. Also, the cameras are up and running at the skate park. So the police department's able to view them. So now we'll be able to keep track of what's going on up there. So that's all.
Thank you. That's great news on the Allo and great work by our staff. Any questions from board members?
I do. So are you saying there's only 300 foot it's good, or
Right.
that's
It
all
was
they found right now?
it was abandoned in place, that 300 feet. The rest of it was removed, if I'm not mistaken. Removed and replaced.
All right.
So, but
It's
I think
important
it's
to
an
see.
important 300 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
good. Any other questions for our town administrator? Everybody excited? Aloe? Yes.
Very.
one step closer. We're
Yes.
slowly
Okay.
picking away at everything, so.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
Real quick, have any of the other towns, have you heard from the other cities about Aloe?
I believe we have a meeting scheduled after the beginning of November. So no, none of the other towns have individually reached out to Aloe. So it's not that, I just want to keep this process moving.
Yeah.
And I didn't know which direction that it was going after things seemed to go a little sideways a few months ago, so.
I'm glad you're keeping it going for us.
Yeah, well,
It's
you're
really
welcome.
exciting.
It's exciting for everyone here, yes. We need to have choices, and that's one that I hope we can bring to the town.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we've got one item on the consent agenda, and that's Resolution 22-23. I will take a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Beckman?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee Meisner?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Austin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have one item on the action agenda tonight. It's a public hearing for the adoption of ordinance number 802, an ordinance zoning the West annexation and amending the town of Milliken's official zoning map. This will be presented by Pepper McClanahan, Community Development Director. Since this is a public hearing, the time is 6:41, and I am opening the public hearing. Please proceed.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the trustees. Before you tonight is Ordinance 402. Along with attachments at the dais, we added the actual land use application form, which is the formal request to zone the property. The property, as you know, is located west of 65th Avenue and includes a portion of 65th Avenue. Richard and Christine Wiest submitted the application to the town to zone approximately 159 acres to agriculture. Existing on the subject property are ag uses and 2 residences, one of which is occupied. In accordance with the Colorado Revised Statute 3112-115-2, areas of annexation shall be brought under the municipality's zoning ordinance and map within 90 days after the effective date of the annexation ordinance, which was August 18th, 2022, making it effective September 17th. So we are well within the 90 days, which would be somewhere around December 16th. In compliance with the Land Use Code, there are 2 sections of the Land Use Code that apply at 16.230 and 16.6300. The criteria for the official zoning of this, some of them don't apply because this is not a rezone, it's not a zone change, it's initial zoning. So this is mostly just to extend the municipal boundaries, and it's in compliance with large acreage, existing uses, and extension of the town boundaries. For the agricultural district, the property does comply with the bulk standards of the ag district, such as protecting and preserving the area's rich agricultural heritage, support and promote traditional agricultural operations as an essential feature of the town. The property also meets dimensional requirements set forth in the zoning district and establishes existing uses on the property are also those permitted in the ag district. The Planning Commission held a public hearing last Wednesday on October 19th. There were no comments in opposition, and the Planning Commission forwarded a recommendation to adopt Ordinance 802. And the property owner and petitioner is here if you would like comments from him. With that, I'm happy to submit the staff report and exhibits for the record and answer any questions.
Okay. Mr. Weiss, do you have any comments that you'd like to make to the board?
I guess I could.
Okay.
I guess I would like to start out by thanking everybody. And I didn't bring this up last time I was before the board, but I'd like to thank Cheryl and Carrie and Pepper and Leonard, because I didn't think it was appropriate at the last meeting. But anyway, they've been a lot of help, made it easy. And we're just, like I said, we want to be ag. We're not in a rush to do anything. And it's sort of like a savings account to me for you, the city of Milliken. It's there. You know it's there. And someday it'll be something else. So, any questions?
All right, let's start around the board members. See any questions that we may have. Trustee Dean.
No, I have no questions.
Trustee Beckman.
No questions.
Trustee Wakeman.
I'd just like to say welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Trustee Lane.
I have no questions.
Trustee Meisner.
I just have one. If I understand correctly, not having been apprised of what was going on so much until recently, does this border the Flack property?
Yes, I'm on the north side of the Flack.
The north side.
Of Flack, so to make a big continuous section for you. Yeah.
And how close to the 34, Highway 34 is this?
Probably a mile and a half. It's north, 34.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich, any questions?
I have no questions.
And I don't have any questions either, other than say welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions of Pepper McClanahan, Community Development Director? Open discussion.
I have a question, just for clarification. Is the property adjacent to the West annexation annexed into Evans? Or Greeley?
The property to the north is
yes.
annexed into, yes, it's a subdivision that is annexed into Evans.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay. All right, the time is 6:46, and I'll close the public hearing. And we'll take a motion.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 802 and ordinance zoning the West annexation as ag.
I second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Dean.
Yes.
Trustee Lane.
Yes.
Trustee Meisner.
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman.
Yes.
Trustee Beckman.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the action agenda portion of our meeting, and we have 2 items on the discussion agenda. We'll start talking about the drones. So how this came about is I have received a couple of complaints. As the mayor, people have had drones flying at window level, looking into, where the drones have cameras and they're looking into their windows. There was a rather large complaint on Facebook. A gentleman was out walking on one of our pathways and was getting buzzed by a drone. And so I inquired as to whether or not we have proper ordinances for this, and what the pass are that people can pursue on these drones. So, Police Chief Garcia, could you please join us and help us understand, do we need another ordinance? Are we good? Where do we need to go with this?
Good evening. So currently we don't have an ordinance on drones. Some of the stuff that we're hearing, a lot of that can be regulated if we did have an ordinance, as far as how high they fly, around residents, around pathways, around people. There are a few towns with similar size as ours that do have ordinances that mandate or they give guidelines to the do's and don'ts of flying a drone. Mm-hmm. But I would recommend that we look for a implementation of a drone ordinance. Not so much banning the drones, because there's a lot of folks out there that fly drones as a hobby, but just regulating what they can and what they cannot do would be good for our citizens and good for the town.
So if you have a drone at someone's window level and they're clearly looking in the window, that's an invasion of privacy, isn't it?
Yes, can be an invasion of privacy. They shouldn't be flying them in the windows. They shouldn't be flying them close to people, stuff like that. So yes, it can become criminal. Be considered a peeping Tom, harassment, different things like that.
Commentary from board member? No, you cannot shoot them out of the sky. Oh my goodness.
Isn't there a height as well?
80 feet.
80 feet high, or like what is our property? You know what I mean? Would they be on our property if they're in our backyard? Like how high?
Yeah.
Trespassing?
So currently, the airspace above your house, it's pretty much considered public space.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is public space. But once they get up to 400 feet and above, it becomes regulated space.
Yeah.
So then that becomes an issue.
Right? Yeah.
But I believe the FAA has a regulation. They've got to be 80 feet off the ground. So if they're lower than 80 feet, there's an issue. So I think we need to research that when we look at our ordinance.
I don't think that's the case with professional photography. Units aren't flying at 80 feet.
I don't know. I've never flown a drone.
That's got to be. A lot of professional photographers now are using drones. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee they ain't flying from 80 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter to me if they're somewhat off the ground, but when they buzz people's dogs, when they're down looking in windows, when they're that low, that's not commercial photography, in my opinion.
They've got to be high enough to where they're not threatening. You don't feel like you're going to get cut or hurt or your animal. You know what I mean? If you're walking your dog, you got to feel like it's up there high enough that I don't feel like it's going to harm me or my animal.
Yeah, and usually what's recommended by the FAA is that if you are operating a drone, it needs to be in your line of sight, but it also needs to be a continuance of your operation. It can't just be hovering over, a person or a house. It has to be a continuance of the operation of the drone, and that's when it becomes, people freak out. Oh, the drone's watching me. It's in my window. It's hovering over me.
Do you guys get calls about this?
We got one call last week. Mm-hmm. We usually don't. I think you hear it more on Facebook and the Facebook chatter, the discussions. You hear it more there. But we had one last week where it was a guy flying a drone. He was flying it over his neighbor's yard, and it was just hovering. But sometimes when they hover, it's because they're coordinated. They're getting the coordinates squared away, so it'll sit there and hover. So that's kind of what we figured out what he was doing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you need to bear in mind that most realtors are using drones to check out property that they are going to list. They check the roofs, they check the surrounding area, and we could pass, I think, a whole bunch of ordinances establishing what people can do with their drones and what they can't do. But most people already know what they can do, what's legal and what isn't legal. And so we can pass a bunch of ordinances, and the only people who are going to obey those ordinances are people who already have the common sense to know what they ought to be doing anyway. If they're dumb enough and irresponsible enough to be going around peeking in people's windows with cameras and whatever, they're not going to pay any attention if we pass an ordinance.
Well, I'd say it's mostly kids probably too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my thought as well. You know, a lot of you can buy a drone at Walmart. You know, a lot of these kids have drones. They don't know the regulations. They don't know, what the rules and regs are, FAA regulations. They don't know that stuff. They're just going to go out there and fly their drones.
Well, and isn't it hard to track where it's coming from too?
Exactly.
It's hard to get somebody in trouble if they're 5 houses down.
That's a discussion that we had earlier, myself and the command staff. A lot of the times when you fly a drone, you can go probably a mile away from where you're standing.
Yeah.
And unless they follow them or unless they know where it's coming from, we get a better idea of who we can contact, who we can explain, hey, this is what you can do and what you cannot do. Mm-hmm. But
unless the regulations have changed, generally operators have to be within visual sight of the drone.
Yes. Yep. That's correct. They do have to. I can't be, I can't have a drone all the way across town because I can't see it. But a lot of the times they have the little monitors where they can see where it's going. Mm-hmm. But you're correct, Trustee Dean, that it has to be the line of sight.
I don't know if that's changed because you're right. They don't have to be in the line of sight because they're watching their monitors. And they might say, hey, there's some smoke clear out there, and they just go up and go towards it, mm-hmm. and however many miles away, and the thing tells them how far they can go before they lose the signal. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then it tells them how much power they have, so they know that they can get back. Yep. So they don't have to be in the line of sight, and I don't even know if that's...
Actually, I believe the federal regs require them to be in line of sight.
Like Linda was saying, it really... People will do what they'll do because...
Why, they may do it. I'm just telling you, they are regulated within line of sight.
But they didn't used to have cameras on them. They're just toys that you play with, but now they're a lot more sophisticated.
And that's a lot of the issues that we're seeing is that because they're on camera, they can go wherever they want. Mm-hmm. But there are regulations to how you can fly it, where you can fly it. And a lot of people, because they think they have that is considered the line of sight, which it's not. You have to be able to see your drone where it's at.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, comments?
No.
Okay, we had a trustee that had a concern about our dog leash law, where we require the dog to be under voice control at all times, but not actually on a leash. Trustee Beckman, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah, I just have seen a lot of, over the years, that we have a lower law than the county does with the leash law here in Milliken. And in the county, they require the dog to be on leash. And I've seen a lot of chatter online about, oh, my dog is on a leash and I'm walking the dog, and a dog that's not on a leash comes and attacks the dog. And then, so... I don't know, I think it's worth a discussion of, making that law a little bit harsher about requiring leashes. I think that having your dog under voice command is amazing if you can actually do it. And I've talked to Chief about, I have 2 dogs that are pretty well trained, and you still don't know what they'll do randomly, right? Like if a bunny goes by, you don't actually have full control over an animal. Right. So, that's just how I feel. So I wanted to bring it up and see if there's what the thought was with the board.
Okay. Open discussion.
Have there been situations that you're aware of that this has been a problem?
Many, yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
That's not in my wheelhouse. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot in the neighborhoods. Yeah.
So one of the things that we are seeing is there's a lot of dogs that do get out. They're running loose, or they're sitting in their front yard. Those are the dogs that usually go after somebody, or they attack somebody else's dog. As far as animals being not under control, I haven't had many situations of that, but just mainly dogs that are running loose.
And that happens.
That we've seen.
You know, that happens. That people don't intend for their dogs to get out.
Right.
So I understand that. But, you know, if you're walking your dog and it's not on a leash, maybe it should be. Yeah.
But it keeps her safer. I mean, it keeps it safer for our community.
Yeah.
It prevents that possible reaction from other dogs, so you have a little bit better control.
Well, I've been going on daily walks, and one of my neighbors that I walk, she walks her dog, and the reaction that the dog, and it's always on a leash, but for some of the Halloween decorations with like the cats in the yards, I mean, you know, you don't know what your dog's gonna do, and those are just fake animals. So I've seen it, you know, happen. But
other comments from board members?
Well, I'm a dog lover, and we took our dogs on walks and just in the neighborhoods, and I always was concerned about the dogs that were, even when the owner's right there and they're out in the front yard. I mean, if I know that my dog's a docile dog and isn't going to do anything, but even if the dog likes other dogs, the person walking their dog doesn't know that. And this dog approaches them and they're just not sure. And so I think it's a good idea to have leash laws. Even when you're outside your own house, if you've got neighbors and they walk their dogs, I just think it's a good idea. I mean, we've got a fenced backyard for a reason. That's where I know my dog is safe and other dogs are safe from getting to my dog. So I just think it's a good idea.
My question is, how well equipped are we to deal with dogs at large?
We're well equipped. We have the equipment to have a code enforcement officer who does have the equipment.
And we can respond in a reasonable time. And
yes.
Dogs are always a problem.
Yes.
I know.
I think one thing too is people use the parks as dog parks when they're not dog parks. And that's one place I do see it a lot too. Kids are playing at the park and there's dogs running around, you know, chasing balls, and it's innocent, but they are not on leashes. And then they come up to the backyards that are on the parks, and those dogs are going nuts, and it creates a lot going on. And so I don't know, you know, that would probably help with that as well if we enforced a leash law too, that if you want to let your dogs run, great, there's a beautiful dog park. You know.
Exactly.
Do we allow dogs to run loose at parks?
No. Actually, most parks are prohibited from having dogs in them, which is why we have the dog park.
Okay. Easy answer.
Happens every day.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
I'll not say it.
As town staff has chased many a dog.
Yes.
And caught him.
I have a comment that's not on dogs.
Okay.
I have really noticed a lot of people running stop signs. It's just ridiculous, like up around the elementary school. And I nearly was hit the other day. So to me, it's kind of an epidemic portion that people are just thinking they're not for them. So, thanks, Chief. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other final comments?
Yes, Mayor. I would still like to have some additional discussion at some point on the drones, on whether or not we are going to pursue something. I don't know what the right answer is, but I think it's something that we need to delve into a little deeper at some point in the near future.
I think we probably should take a look at what other towns have. I don't want to over-regulate. I want people to be free to, but if we've got situations that are making citizens feel uncomfortable, I think it's going to turn into an argument. I know if I walked out and had a drone looking in my window, I got some nice sized rocks in my yard.
I wouldn't know who shot it down.
Yeah, I wouldn't know who shot it down either.
No, I tell them I took it out with a rock. You were looking in my window.
I'm like you. I don't want to overregulate things, and I don't want to extend our capacity, extend our regulations beyond our capacity to deal with them. But I also think we need to be thoughtful about it as well.
But if we have a situation that is out of control, we need our officers to be able to deal with it because we have a regulation on the
Yes.
books. Okay. Or an ordinance.
Don't throw rocks at it. Don't shoot it down because it'll make it a lot harder for us to investigate.
I wouldn't shoot it down.
Okay. We're such a lively group tonight. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We're going to do board reports.
Oh, do you have a board report?
Yes.
Apologies, I missed the board report.
Leron, do you want to make an announcement? Or do you want me to?
I don't know if it's appropriate, other than saying that it was voted on, but until there's a signed lease, nothing's written in stone, so whatever you want to say.
Okay. I went to the TRPR meeting Monday night, and they are pursuing an agreement with Mad Russian Golf Course to lease the golf course. And you just heard Leron's comment that it's not complete yet, but the TRPR did approve it, and so golf will become a part of the rec district if the deal goes through. They're pretty. It was an exciting meeting. They kind of did a review of the things that they have accomplished and the things that are to come before them. So there's a lot going on for TRPR in our community, and I think it's just really an exciting time. The pool, the lap pool out here in conjunction with the pool, the Milligan Municipal, is that what it's called? Waterworks.
Milligan Waterworks.
Yeah, is slated to be open within the year. So just some really great things happening for our community through TRPR. I also went to the ribbon cutting ceremony for Elwell Elementary, and it's a beautiful building.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
You went to the Elwell. Now, I've heard that it's already at capacity. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know anything factual on it because I'm not involved, but when I was on the school board, the plan was to take the load off of the other schools while remodeling is going on, and things are happening there. How it will actually be when they get all of the districts formed for the elementary schools, I'm not sure. The main interest that I had in the elementary schools for Milligan is that what's planned is for a 3-pod, which would mean 3 sections per grade level, and PRE and Elwell are both 4-pod. So I think it's another one of those areas that we very much need to pay attention. A lot of kids from MES are going to PRE because of the situation on remodeling and that, but I don't know the actual plan. I doubt they do yet. So.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? All righty, I'll take that motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're out. Okay.